Okay, once I've gone around the coach, I use the same method in every bay. I've done the 12 volt. I've got it where that pump's only running one time in 24 hours. I've met my goal. I move on. I keep going down the right side. I open the engine hatch. I look for any air in there. I come around the coach and I do the same thing going down the other side. Don't forget to open the gen set if you have an air cylinder that operates it, which my coach does. Okay?
You better back so fast.
You know, some of them are hydraulic, some of them are air.
Your RAM.
So, yeah, the ram. So if you've got air, like airbags on your, it's all got to be checked. So don't forget your gen set. Now, when I'm done with the outside of the coach, where do you think I go next? Remember, I do things the easiest way.
Go to the bar.
I go inside. I go inside. Okay? Here's where I look inside. I've already eliminated, remember, I already eliminated those pocket doors. If I hadn't, I would have already been up in the closets and stuff. But I'm gonna look at the toilets. I know how the toilets work. I know there's pressure on them all the time. So I'm gonna look for air leaks in both my toilets. Here's one that leaks regular. Air ride seats. A lot of people forget about it. Under the dash. Now what do you got under the dash that has a potential leak?
The brake
Two
treadle.
brakes.
Or
The brake treadle, that's one thing. How about your emergency brake? How about
The
your,
fittings for your gauges.
just gotta say, you got it. This,
What'd you
all that
Fittings
stuff
for the
can
air
leak.
supply gauges.
Now, I found my leaks under the dash by using the ultrasonic leak detector. I didn't go under there with soapy water. I'm not gonna get stuff with a bunch of wiring wet. Okay, but I did repair the leaks that I had under there that I found. Okay, now, after I've done all this, I go under the coach. I'm gonna tell you that when I went from R1 to R5, I found 90% of my leaks that I've ever found on my coach. Between R1 and R5. And that's between the first, where I got the genset blower, to the aqua bay. 90% of my leaks I found right there. Don't forget those dump valves. You got solenoids on the wall that can leak, and usually when they leak, you hear them. You won't need a leak detector, you'll hear them. And then the fittings at the cylinders might have leaked numerous times. They're a push-in fitting. They're the only 4 fittings on my coach, push-in fittings on my coach that I still have, and that's only because I can't find DOT type fittings to replace them.
oh, you can't find DOT.
No. They're a real small thread. They're like a 5/32
That's on
thread.
what now?
It's the air fittings on your dump cylinders.
Okay, yeah, got you.
They're kind of a swivel little deal, and they're a push-in. I found every one of mine leaking just through the vibration, that I can't get rid of them. So I know to check them. But I'm just telling you that that's 90%. The other 10% has been inside, and most of it under the dash and the seat. Okay? I found under the coach there are 1,000,000 fittings. I have found one leak. under the coach. Everything under the coach has stayed tight as could be. And what that was, I didn't find it through checking for it. When I replaced the brake cans on my tag, I found where an airline had shaved through and had just a real small hole in it. So I replaced those. So that's the strategy I use. It's worked for me. I hope, you develop whatever strategy you like that you're comfortable with. As you do your checking, make a schematic. It'll allow you to understand how your air system works, and most people don't. It looks like spaghetti. Remember Richard talked about finding the extra air tank in the back that nobody knew about? That took me about 6 weeks, working every day. And then calling Richard and having him tell me, no, that's not how it works. You're not right. I followed every line, made a schematic as I went. And that taught me, now I understand the rear suspension, and that taught me to make as I'm doing it anyway, just make a schematic of where it goes. Now, I call that little drawing a schematic. It's not real fancy, but it's something now that I can refer back to, because you won't remember. You won't remember what airline goes where and how it gets there.
None of them are color-coded, are they?
Pardon me?
None of the airlines are color-coded on your coach?
There are some color coding. They're in the toilet. Now that's physically in the toilet. That's not a comment.
On the solenoid valve.
Those are the, now on my 3/8, on my coach they're using black airline and white airline. Okay, on the front of my coach for the feed lines they're using 3/8 red. In the rear of the coach they're using 3/8 blue. My feed lines come together in the center of my coach up high on a bulkhead, and they're shut-off valves. So I can, if I'm checking something in the front, I can turn that valve and isolate the front from the back and the back from the front.
Newell put those in, or you did?
Newell put those in. They were there, but I've heard other people say they're not there.
Yeah, I don't
But on
know
my
those.
coach, yeah, you got them, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
They're just a shut-off valve. They look very similar. In your water bay, you'll see some valves that you can lift with a yellow handle. They look like on a bulkhead halfway through my coach. And they're up kind of high. When I took it apart to see if it had air leaks, I had a hell of a time, because you're really working way up there. That's where this came in real handy, to get that leak detector down where I would have never got it in up there. But there were 2 shut-off valves, so you could isolate the front and the back from the back. Any question on air leaks? Any question on strategy and that kind of thing?
When you get to like R2, you said, did you pull a aluminized little styrofoam down?
No.
Okay, in the top
No.
and back?
What you're
Okay.
going to find where they run stuff through, they'll have an opening in there
Okay,
in case they need to bring air in for some component that you want put in, or they'll, if they're running wires through, they'll have a break in the PVC
okay,
over the bay, and you'll be able to see it.
okay.
And so you'll see airlines up there, and some of them have connections in them for unknown reasons. There's even T's. You'll find a tee off where they needed a tee off to go to a component somewhere. You'll find that kind of stuff in there.
I have lines in mine that are just curled up with ties around them and they're plugged on the end.
Right.
15 feet extra hole.
Right.
Who knows what they were gonna do with it, but they never used it.
Right, so you're saying it wasn't connected in
Never
at all,
connected.
it's just some
Yeah,
extra
it's a
hose?
Factory bundle that they just,
Well, that was nice of them.
option or something that,
Well, that was nice of them.
yeah.
Give you a little-
Yeah, I got a little extra hose anyway if
Nothing
I
wrong
need
with
it.
that.
So Steve, the micro four flush valve,
Uh-huh.
I think you talked one time before about greasing those or keeping those lubed.
Uh-huh.
What's to use in there? What sort of petroleum jelly? No? What's the-
I use a Dow product, I forget the name of it, it's a silicone grease that I use. I can, if you come by my coach, I can show you.
Okay.
I just, it's a Dow and I just can't remember. There's O-rings in there, if you're gonna grease it, replace the O-rings, grease it up. The recommendation, if you're full-time, is once a year.
You do it more than that?
No, oh, no.
It's a pain in the butt.
I would say, my experience, I would say probably 3 years.
And then the other question I had is, I think somebody on the forum came up with the O-rings or a kit for the six-pack that could be replaced.
Yeah, Tom sells those.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom sells those, and it's a good kit.
Have you heard of anybody in your deal that would go after air leaks like you do, that you could pay to get it? I'm talking about Chris Jones out of Florida, or
Ron, you don't have enough money. I know Ron's got a good amount, don't get me wrong, but Ron, you'll run out of money
well, I know,
paying
but-
somebody to do what I do.
Yeah, but
But I'm telling you, this is the way to find air leaks. Taking it to Newell and paying them
Oh, yeah, but
paying
Newell.
them $150 an hour, or take it to somebody else, even if you're only paying $50 an hour. They
no-
might find a leak. You know, here's me. I'm under there with soap and water. I found 4 leaks, Ron, you're good to go.
yeah.
You drive it off the lot, you come back and you go, hey, the thing's still leaking.
Yeah.
New air. Let me get under it and test. 4 new air leaks I found, Ron. That'll be $780.
Well, I'm just saying, if you were a young man, 30 years old, I'm just saying that somebody opened up and did an approach like you. I mean, I know you couldn't pay for it, but still.
What I did.
Find a young guy that wants some money, that's smart, show him the tools.
Yeah.
Here you go, I got air leaks.
What I did cost
Right.
me nothing but time, other than the $30 to build a few tools. That's it. I remember, I didn't find any leaks under my coach.
Let's find some
You
kid
know,
that
you-
wants to make some money.
So everywhere that I have found leaks in my coach, it's easily acceptable. I mean, John here did more work putting a slide seal in, as far as taking the coach apart, than I've ever done checking for air leaks. I'm not taking anything apart, other than taking a line off and inserting this and putting the line back on. That's it.
I think the biggest thing for me is to have this assortment of parts that I can put back on when I find it's push on or whatever. My problem right now is I don't have that little inventory, you know, I see the.
Right, but there is a,
I know, that's where I gotta get to, is to have
Yeah.
an inventory of parts. I spray it, I see the problem. Right now in my mind, I know 2 or
Right.
3. I just gotta go get the parts.
right. See, Keith found his air leak.
Yeah,
He didn't have the part.
same problem, yeah.
We got him the part. They're easily accessible,
They're all down the street.
you know. O'Reilly's is gonna be pretty expensive on them. But if that's my only source to fix an air leak, I'm going to O'Reilly's. I'm gonna pay what it takes to get it fixed, so I can go on down the road. You know, if it can wait till I carry an assortment. And as I told you, if you want to just get started, get some 1/4-inch unions, get some 1/4-inch pipe thread with 1/4-inch in a 1/4" union. Now do the same thing in 3/8. Get 2 of everything. Do the same thing in 3/8, get 2 of everything. Do the same thing in half, probably only need 1. And you gotta start. Okay? If you're gonna, if you know in your mind you're gonna start taking fittings out, obviously you buy more, but
And I'm
but,
full of those.
but to
push-ons.
carry, it's not like you're carrying 1,000 things.
No, it doesn't take up much room.
It
It's
just takes a
I'm
few,
like
have a
Foley, I
little
just got
box
started.
of some type with some air fittings in it. I'll give you an example. I pulled into a state park in Oklahoma. And Susie always gets out and helps me get in. She says, Steve, there's air coming from the back real bad. And I had a fitting in the back that took the air to my car. Okay, went to the back of the coach and I plugged into that for my car brake. And the fitting on the coach where I had connected into an airline broke. So I didn't have the stuff to fix it, and I couldn't fix it, and I can't remember, because I think it left the threads on part of it. And I can't remember exactly, I'm an old guy. But I was able to go in there with what I did have and close it off and just stub it off. I didn't have brakes on my car, but that was the least of my worry at that point. So over and above what I just told you, also get some plugs where you can plug something off if you need it. Any questions, any comments on, like I said, figure out your strategy, what you want to do, and how you want to do it, but I guarantee you this system will work.